Hi, this is Cousin Russ. This is a continuation of my office hours that I started a couple weeks ago based on a comment that was left in the chat on one of my recordings. Uh, you may know that I would like to know where you're viewing from, so just leave a chat message where you're viewing from. Let me know if you are a user of the Family Tree Maker program. And as a reminder, uh, visit the office hours playlist description because I put some information about the playlist and what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm going to change things around and start my presentation today. And here we go. Okay, yes, I'm going to talk about Family Tree Maker. Is there something other to talk about? So anyhow, I am talking about the workspace rules that I have created. My agenda is, like I said before, was response to a comment that was left in chat uh, in an earlier recording. And it said, I would be interested in hearing more about your rules in the task. What are they and why? And I've been doing that. And I see that I have two people watching. From Austin, Texas, in the process of converting my file to Family Tree Maker 2019 from another program. Uh, in the screen below, you'll see that I have a link to my blog post where I may have talked about that before. So, moving along, I have been doing a short subject videos on the various workspaces, and I'm going to do that today. I'm going to throw in a couple of tips and tricks and basically why I have done some of the things that I do. And I do test them out and try different ways of doing the same thing. But my rules are settled in to, to make it my file the way I want it, and hopefully share some of the tricks that I have done, and maybe you might want to look at them as well. Keep in mind that uh, I do some things because I want to see them and I need to see them in working with my database. I also keep in mind about what I want you to see, and I'll have a couple of examples of that as I go along this afternoon. Uh, Family Tree Maker is good for filtering and sorting, and I keep that in mind when I uh, make my rules. And like I said, I do test them out, make sure they work the way I hope they would work. And so that's my family file rules that I'm going to talk about today. In today's presentation, I'm going to talk about the Places workspace. That's where the map feature is. And I use the map feature a lot. And I'll show you why I do some of the things that I do because I want the map to work for me, but I want it to be consistent and organized. So here's a couple of my rules that I have in uh, the Places workspace. And if you're watching really for the first time or you've been here before, please leave a message in the chat of where you're watching this video from. So I use the place name authority. That's the title for resolving place names, which are part of the Family Tree Maker program. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through the place name authority because I have blogged about it in my blog. What I'm going to do today is talk about that I will use the place name authority, but there's some tricks that go along with that. I also include the word county and township wherever it is used and where the documents are telling me it is. For an example, is Philadelphia, what the records say, is that Philadelphia, the city, or Philadelphia, the county? Hopefully, the record will tell me with that. A couple other place names where the word county or township is important is Richmond, Virginia, and Baltimore, Maryland. They are independent cities. They are not part of a county. Philadelphia is in Philadelphia County. Richmond and Baltimore are in independent cities, not a county. The next thing I have in part of my rules is I will use historical place names. Now, what this means is that if I have a place name that is historical in nature, and I have an example in a minute, I will enter the data with that historical place name, but I also will use the uh, current place name. I will see the current place name when it's on my ancestry member tree. That will be private, so you will see the historical place name. If there's a record, and especially a newspaper article or an obituary, if the record says that a person is of a certain place, I record that as a residence fact. Now, if you've watched the earlier videos, you will notice that I'm not using uh, numbers in front of each of those because they were confusing with in one of the previous videos. I don't have the numbers on this list, but in my database, each of them is a different number. All right, let me show you some examples. So here is the Places Workspace, and it's in New Jersey, and there is Interstate 295 down the center. And I don't expect you to read it, be able to, but it's to show you what it's about. And on the left-hand side is the index of places. You'll see it's in New Jersey and it's in Camden County. Now I'm going to blow that up a little bit because there's Camden County and there is the county of Cherry Hill. Now Cherry Hill is important for me to talk about is historical place name. Cherry Hill was not always Cherry Hill. I went to high school in Delaware Township. Delaware Township uh, is what the place name was where my high school was. It is now Cherry Hill. My brother graduated from Delaware Township High School, Cherry Hill, or the Cherry Hill High School, but it was the same building as Delaware Township High School. So where I graduated from is a historical place name, which will not be in this list because the historical place name will be higher on the index. I see a couple more people have joined. Please leave a chat message and let me know where you're viewing from. I appreciate it. So when I enter in my database where I graduated from, I enter it in Delaware Township and Cherry Hill. I have marked where I graduated from as private Cherry Hill because I want it on the map, and where I graduated from, Delaware Township, will be seen in the ancestry member tree. So I use historical place names, but I also need it on the map. Delaware Township will not appear on the map, but if I do it correctly, the pinpoint that you see on the map will be correct. And we give you another example. Next example, if I get my cursor to move to my next slide. The next place is Birmingham Lafayette Cemetery. And let me just show you where that is in case you can't see it. It's right there. It looks like it's listed twice. Well, it is. It's Birmingham Lafayette Cemetery and Birmingham Lafayette Friends Meeting. Now, that happens to be important to me. It's actually the same place, same property, but two different types of events took place there. Uh, this is an example of everybody who is buried in the cemetery on the right-hand side. That's 52 people in my family are buried in that cemetery. Now it looks cool from the street view, but let me go to the aerial view of the same place, and that is that cemetery from uh, from an aerial view, and my grandparents are buried right there. I have been there a number of times. I need to go back and visit that because there is a place that I don't know where it is. You'll see a white, here, let me show you. You'll see a white border that's right here. I don't know what that is. That wasn't there the last time I visited the cemetery, so I need to go back and visit. But the important thing is for me is that I know who's buried and where. Another thing that I did with the map, the places workspace, is done. I did it for the 1940 census. Now we're coming up on the 1950 census. I plan on doing the same exact thing. And here's what I did. I took the 1940 census. In my database are all the addresses of people in this particular area, and I have their addresses. And all the houses that you see on that map are where I have family that live that I have their addresses. And what I did on the map using, I did this within Family Tree Maker, but I also used Google Maps so I could put the houses on it. I put a picture of the house that that I took when I did when the 1940 census came out uh, 10 years ago. So that's enough about that feature of the Places workspace. But let me go to the next one. This is called a person's migration path. If you, the previous screen, the left hand panel was looked at places, but it's a pull down menu which will allow you to select a person. And I created a person called the 11th Cavalry Regiment. Now, uh, I did that because that's the my great grandfather was part of the 11th Kansas Cavalry Regiment and fought in the Civil War. Now, what I did is that on the right hand side, I entered places, battles, places where battles that he fought in or his unit fought in that I could put on a map. So I know you can't see that map very well, and I'll now show it to you a little bit clearer, but that is some of the places, some of the battles that my great grandfather took part of, and that's for the 11th Kansas Cavalry Regiment and his Civil War battles. So that's a couple of the things that I have done with Family Tree Maker, uh, and the rules that I have for the Places workspace. And uh, so if you have any questions, please leave in the chat or comments afterwards. And again, visit the office hours playlist description. I've put a bunch of text in there on what I plan on doing, uh, and how you will be notified if you subscribe to my channel. When I set up a uh, live broadcast, you will get a notification that I am going to be notified, that you will be notified. Uh, I noticed this afternoon when I posted the message that I was going to go live, I noticed that their Myrtle, my cousin, uh, posted in her Facebook group, and hopefully a couple of you saw it and came. But if you subscribe to the channel, you will get notification that I'm going live. If you care to, give a thumbs up to the recording, leave comments. The chat messages will show up in about a day with the recording. Until then, you won't see the chat until it gets uploaded and brought into YouTube. That's all I had to say today. I have a couple more workspaces to do, which I will add over time. So again, please let me know where you're watching from if you're a user of Family Tree Maker, and thank you, Trailer Time, for your comment. I appreciate it. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Have a great day.